Hello everyone, I'm Nasri, and today I'll be presenting my stakeholder analysis on sustainability in the Singapore automotive industry, focusing on the nation's transition towards electric vehicle adoption. Electric vehicle adoption in Singapore hit a new high in first quarter of 2025 with 40.2% of total car registration. EV registration in 2024 and 2023 was at 33.6% and 18.1% respectively. The 2025 first quarter itself has exceeded the 2024 total registrations. This shows that EV adoption in Singapore is in an uptrend since 2023 and growing faster each year. By 2035, the forecast of electric vehicle adoption in Singapore is expected to be at 74%, highest number across Southeast Asia. This trend is in line with Singapore Green Plan 2030 target, which requires all new private car and taxi registrations are to be cleaner energy models from 2030. All new diesel cars and taxi are to cease registrations from 2025. All HDB towns are to be electric vehicle ready with chargers at all HDB car parks by 2025. By 2030, the government expects to deploy a total of 60,000 EV chargers point around the island. The Singapore government will also expand infrastructure and revise the vehicle tax structure to make it easier to buy and own an electric vehicle. The ultimate goal of this green plan is for all vehicles in Singapore to run on cleaner energy by 2040. Now let's look at key sustainability issue in automotive industry. ICE vehicles are a leading source of greenhouse gas emissions, especially CO2, which accounts for about 76% of global greenhouse gases. EV emits 30% lower CO2 compared to traditional ICE cars. If electricity comes from renewable sources, EV emission can be much lower. Global reserves of crude oil and natural gases are depleting rapidly. By 2050, only 14% of global oil reserve, 18% of gas, and 72% of coal are expected to remain. ICE vehicles is also a major driver of global warming, emitting pollutants such as nitrogen oxide. Without significant changes, annual emissions from ICE vehicles are projected to remain high, undermining effort to limit temperature rise and meet climate targets. Sustainable EV adoption in automotive industry requires coordinated action across ecological, economic, and social domains with integrated policies and business model. From ecological point of view, EV adoption significantly reduces CO2 emissions, especially when powered by renewable energy. This helps to improve air quality and public health while supporting the global climate goals SDG 13. However, the rapid changes can disrupt the traditional ICE businesses and industry if the changes are not regulated progressively. Economic factors such as purchase price, operational costs, and government incentive are pivotal in consumer adoption decisions. The shift to EV stimulates technological innovation, new job creation, and investment in renewable energy, but also disrupt traditional supply chain and labor markets. Social systems influence EV adoption through peer perception and the desire environmental responsibility status. EV can enhance urban quality of life by reducing noise and pollution, but may also amplify inequalities if access is limited to higher income group. Social readiness, user experience, and public knowledge are increasingly recognized as critical for widespread adoption. Singapore government plays a crucial role in encouraging EV adoption among Singaporean car owners. Through incentives such as EV Early Adoption Incentive and Vehicular Emission Scheme, it makes EV more affordable. A combined rebate up to $50,000 available for EV buyers for vehicle under band A1 and A2 categories. This helps to reduce upfront costs and gap between EV and ICE vehicles. Singapore government also revised road tax structure and make the road tax cost difference narrower between petrol and EV vehicle. At the same time, the government is also investing heavily in charging infrastructure with a target of 60,000 charging points by 2030. However, large investment or capex is required to realize the power grid upgrades and charging infrastructure in Singapore. Now, let's look at consumer perspective, who plays a critical role in the success of EV adoption in Singapore. Many Singaporeans are motivated by environmental benefit. They recognize that switching to EV helps reduce air pollution and carbon emission, contributing directly to Singapore Green Plan 2030 goals. Next, government support has made EV more appealing by providing many incentives to lower the upfront cost, while also expanding charging infrastructure to increase convenience. Additionally, lower operating costs are strong motivator. EV generally requires less maintenance and lower energy costs compared to petrol cars. However, consumers also face several barriers and concerns. Many drivers still having range anxiety about how far an EV can travel on a single charge, especially those who prefer to drive cross-border to Malaysia during weekends. Rapid technological progress makes some buyers hesitant as new models with better range and faster charging appear quickly in the market, causing uncertainty about the resale value. Finally, knowledge gaps. Some consumers are still skeptical about performance, safety, and long-term reliability of EV cars. Now let's look at ICE related businesses. In Singapore, there are about 180 petrol stations, and studies project that 25% could become unprofitable and close by 2035, especially in areas dominated by EVs. Converting all petrol stations into charging hubs is not practical since EV charging is more decentralized. Drivers can charge at home, workplaces, and public car parks, reducing dependency on petrol station style refueling. For workshops, the shift is equally significant. EV requires 60 to 70% fewer routine mechanical repairs, so those specializing in engines, exhaust system, or oil changes will see reduced demand. However, workshops that focus on tires, suspension, and bodyworks will still remain relevant. Another major challenge is the skill gap. Many mechanics currently lack of EV-related expertise. Therefore, upskilling and partnership with EV manufacturers will be crucial to ensure their businesses stay competitive and avoid becoming obsolete. Here are some other factors that need to be addressed in sustainable EV adoption. First, achieving the target of 60,000 charging points by 2030 is a major infrastructure challenge. The national power grid must be gradually upgraded to handle higher electricity demand as more EV comes online. The biggest risk comes from simultaneous charging. For example, when many EV owners plug in their cars after work, creating a sudden surge in peak load that can strain the grid. To manage this, the government and energy agencies are exploring smart charging technologies that can automatically stagger charging times and balance demand. Another challenge lies in changing consumer mindset. Many drivers still expect EV to function like a petrol car, refueling quickly at a single station. However, EV are meant to be charged in the background, such as overnight at home or during office hours. Expecting fast chargers everywhere is not sustainable financially and technically. Ultimately, the success of Singapore's EV transition depends not only on technology and infrastructure, but also on how quickly consumer and business adapt to this new sustainable lifestyle. Now let's look at some recommendations to make EV charging more sustainable. By adding a solar panel, EV can increase their driving range about 6 to 20%, depending on factors like vehicle type, solar intensity, and design. Smaller vehicles tend to benefit more, especially in sunny climate. However, the energy generated is still modest, typically less than 20% of the total driving needs. Beyond extending range, solar panels can also supplement grid charging, helping to reduce dependencies on fossil fuel, particularly when used with smart charging system. One challenge is that the limited roof area, which restrict panel size and efficiency. Fixed panels also don't always capture sunlight effectively. While sun tracking can improve performance, they can also add complexity and cost. Another potential solution is the combination of solar system with wind power for electric vehicle charging. This hybrid system that integrates both source can deliver continuous, reliable and efficient energy even when weather conditions fluctuate. These systems can reach a very high conversion efficiencies, nearly 99.6%, while maintaining stable performance and low harmonic distortions. Another key advantage is that any surplus renewable energy generated can be fed back into the grid. This not only support grid stability but also help manage energy supply during times of high demand. When solar system and wind energy are combined with smart charging, this can create a system that's not just technically efficient but also more cost effective, sustainable and grid friendly. As a conclusion, EV adoption offers significant environmental benefit but requires coordinated action across ecological, economic, and social systems. The stakeholders have different roles to play in a successful transition depends on inclusive planning, circular supply chain, and supportive policies. Businesses that proactively engage stakeholders and invest in sustainable value creation will reduce risks and capture the new opportunities. Integrating renewable energy with electric vehicle offers significant benefit, reducing CO2 emissions and global warming. Thank you.